We are 5Alive. I'm BobbyT.
And I'm Martin.
And today we are going over why the 80s ruled.
And why they sucked.
So today's 1983. You ready?
Let's do this!
I'm not ready. As I said, Martin, I am not ready for this.
Right.
I know that 1983 was not the best year. I did the research, and as I'm doing the research, my mind is just going, do I just flip the script on
You're
this?
a terrible defense attorney.
Oh, no, I can't defend. Outside of like a bloody glove not fitting, there's no way I'm getting this thing off. So we'll start with movies,
Okay.
as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
It was an okay year, but there was some real turds in here.
Okay.
Like, real turds. And I'm pretty sure you're going to point them right out, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to agree with you
Yeah.
at this point.
But go ahead with yours.
Well, Star Wars Jedi.
Yep.
Pretty good movie. I know everyone's going to make the argument of teddy bears and all these things, but I loved it. It's still up there for me. Let's see. Something Wicked This Way came out this year.
You're that far down?
Now, actually, I have a really weird reason why this is so awesome to me. Because at one point, I had worked at Blockbuster Video, and I could always tell what movie or what book is the one being assigned to read, because Old Yeller, Sounder, Of Mice and Men, like there would be a run on these things.
Right.
And I remember one day someone assigned Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Right.
Never have I ever even heard about this movie up until this point. Got like 15 calls about it in 15 minutes, right after school lets out on a Friday. So naturally the one kid comes in who's like the quickest, like I'm not going to call, I'm just going to go down there.
Yeah.
He just got there and got it. And then I get like this barrage of, well, who rented it? What's his name? Where does he live? Can we get it from him? I'm like, I'm not giving you this information. So to me, Something Wicked This Way Comes is hilarious, because on top of the fact that it makes these people crazy to not just have to read like a 90-page book, they were willing to like full on just give me his number. I'm like wanting to fight me over it.
Yeah.
So I look back at that one as hilarious, but
Okay.
for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Krull
Okay.
was that year. Absolutely loved Krull.
This is the worst movie ever made.
One of my favorite comedy movies of all time is Vacation,
Okay.
1983.
All right.
The Anthony Michael Hall version.
So folks, if we're keeping track, he has one, and it's Vacation.
Well, this is also the year Christmas Story came out, and we've been watching Christmas Story every year since, so we're looking at 34
He has
years
one,
of Christmas Story.
and it's Vacation.
Well, there's also Yentl.
He has one, and it's Vacation. Can I go now?
Yeah, because I want to agree with you on a lot of stuff. Let's go.
So there was a lot. I agree with you. But I just went for the heavy hitters. You know? We brought out the 1927 Yankees of bad films for this year.
Jesus, wow. This is going to be rough.
First one, Terms of Endearment.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
Okay,
if you ever
pretty
want to watch a movie that makes you want to quit life, it's Terms of Endearment. It's not that it's a badly made movie. It's actually a superbly made movie. It's just heart-wrenching.
So it's like the Requiem for a Dream of 1983.
And I understand, like, yes, those movies need to be made. Like, that's art. But I can't stand those
You need
movies.
that slice of life, but it just makes you want to die.
Exactly. It's like, my life is depressing enough. I don't need it reflected back to me in my art. So that's bad. Flashdance.
Yes.
The seminal classic about a woman who is a dancer but also a steel mill worker.
Oh, God, I'm going down so hard.
As did she. Anyways, Yentl.
Well, now
The Barbara Streisand classic.
Well, now what's really great
Yentl.
about Yentl is that coming up in mine and Kriza, we're doing a review of Glow, and there's actually an episode where the Ruth character goes to a real Russian celebration.
No one cares.
And the only way she can relate to them is through Yentl. So she's singing awful Yentl songs.
No one cares.
Good stuff. Well, Kriza does. He's over there. He's giving the thumbs up.
Yentl is awful, and so is Glow. Anyways, the Twilight Zone movie.
Nope, I will not. Nope.
Not only is it responsible for the death of 3 people, it's also tarnishing an amazing television show.
I like the practical effects in it.
Anyways, and my final hit of the is Risky Business, which
Oh my
brings
God,
us
you missed the two big ones.
The rise of Tom Cruise.
Very much so, but you missed two
okay.
massive disasters, and I cannot believe this.
What were they?
How am I the one? I'm supposed to be arguing for.
No. Go ahead.
Number one, Staying Alive.
Son of a monkey.
The sequel to that awful...
You got me. Yeah.
All right, so...
And what was number two?
Okay.
Is it Chud?
No, because I like the movie Chud. I hate this movie with everything in me. And down here in the comments, you could put anything you want in here. I don't fucking care because this movie's terrible.
Oh,
and if
he
you
just
like
used the
it,
F word.
Oh yeah,
he F-bombed it, folks.
If you seriously are gonna sit here and say you love this movie, I need 3 reasons why, because you can't come up with them. Scarface.
Oh no,
that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I powered through that thing, and then even just to make sure, because every rapper in the world looks up to Tony Montoya. Every person wants to be this piece of absolute human trash. Okay, that's fine. I get it. He's an energetic, charismatic character. But this movie, as a movie, is garbage.
See, Scarface to me is a perfect example of why do I care about this character? Exactly. I just want him to die.
I don't want anything good for him.
Exactly.
Like, I understand he came from humble beginnings, but where he went, I just don't like the character.
He's a piece of garbage.
But more to the fact is the culture that it spawned
is
awful. What really is, like, that spinoff is what makes me hate this movie even more. So, but when I did see it, I really did watch it the first time, I'm like, that was pretty terrible. I'm like, all right, maybe I missed something. I watched it again. And I'm like, okay.
That's dedication.
I was like, all right, that was the theatrical versions. There's the De Palma or whoever. It was De Palma.
Yep.
I was like, there's a De Palma version on this DVD. I will watch it. They had the chainsaw scene was put in. A whole bunch of scenes were extra put in. Still garbage. Yeah. It turns out if you add 5 more pounds of shit to a shitty movie, you have a really heavy plus 5 pounds bag of shit movie.
Yeah, if you add 5 pounds of shit to a shit bag, you just get more shit.
It's more shit in the bag. Right. But everyone will worship it for some reason.
So movies, I win. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you win because,
movies are terrible.
Pretty bad.
So let's go with music.
Yep.
I'll start.
All right.
Karma Chameleon.
So going back to albums that I have right over there. Next.
See, that's the thing. I have no problem with Culture Club, but Karma Chameleon's a terrible song.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad song.
Flashdance, the soundtrack. Double bills.
What's gonna be next? Flashdance, the magazine. Yep. Absolute garbage.
Mick Jones left the Clash.
Oh, oof.
Yeah.
Bad day.
And the downfall of Billy Joel.
This was Uptown Girl.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
When Billy Joel got happy and stopped being an artist.
And he started writing nonsense.
Yep. We do mid-'80s Billy Joel. We don't do anything.
We're 80s Joel. No Piano Man.
Yep.
Now, at this phase, 1983, David Bowie is new wave.
Terrible.
He's wearing the suits. He's got the blonde hair.
Don't like it.
He's actually done the full. He's gone from ginge to blonde hair.
I've made this clear. I prefer my David Bowie to be Jermaine Clement. But go on.
So in this year, though, we do get the album that has "Let's Dance" and "China Girl" on it, which is I believe the Modern Love album. Is it
not my favorite Bowie.
So love them. You know what though? For me, it's unfair. I mean, I have a David Bowie tattoo.
Right.
I'm probably not the best person to ask about David Bowie, but we had Madness. Madness is Madness came out that year. So
I do love me some Madness.
So good year for new wave and ska, really, and then a good year for metal because you had Dio's Holy Diver and the premiere of Metallica's Kill 'Em All. So this was the beginning of like.
Doesn't beat Flashdance.
And you got Candy Girl by New Edition. So, excuse me, I will just neatly fold this up.
You don't beat Flashdance.
Yeah, 83 was a real shitbag.
Yeah.
And it's getting
I win that one
by the time we scoops his shit into this.
Usually the last thing we do is world events or wrestling. It was a massive year for wrestling.
83 and 84 are so beyond the pale that I don't think any industry, and this is me being 100% serious, I don't know of very many industries that
changed that
18 months could go from what it was to what it is in that short amount of time is beyond compare. I really don't know who does this outside of like some random.com, that just kind of caught on one day, and even then, not even close.
In 1983, Vince left. In our 1982 episode, we mentioned that Vince bought the WWF from his father,
from Vince Sr.
This year, he left the NWA, which was the overall body overseeing all of not all of it, but the majority of professional wrestling in the country.
In America, it was they basically led all of the the territories was basically NWA.
He also bought the women's titles from Moolah the Pimp.
Which basically was only just a way for her to extend her title reign.
Exactly.
Which, going back and watching some of those matches, I bet right now you think I'm going to be like, oh, they were pretty good.
No, they were awful.
They were Matt diarrhea.
Oh, yeah. No,
this was the worst. It was a hair whip, a really bad clothesline, no running
strawberry
up the
whip,
ropes.
Vanilla whip, chocolate whip.
Just the worst.
Three
just
whips
the
right
absolute worst. I think there was a WrestleMania 3 match or 4 match that I was watching.
Oh, no,
the first Survivor Series.
Yeah, they're all terrible.
And it was all senior citizens.
Yep.
It really was watching like 55-year-old, 60-year-old women like rolling around in a ring. Just the worst.
Terrible. Snooker's Leap at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, this was the one that inspired Foley, so we kind of got a little bit of big stuff.
And Hulk Hogan returned in December to the WWE.
So, if I'm remembering my Hogan history right, I believe is that not he returned to America because didn't he go from AWA to Japan and then Japan to WWE?
I believe so, but I think he'd known he was going to WWF when he left for Japan. He knew he was leaving.
Absolutely, because I know later that Vern Gagne
wasn't giving him the push that
he wasn't going to give him the push. He wanted to be out, and then later Gagne pays the Sheik to break his leg or arm. I can't remember. He wanted to break one of his bones so that he just couldn't perform for Vince Jr. And then instead Sheik gets to WWF and they're like, hey, how about we pay you real money?
Exactly. And also he's the champion.
Yeah, we'll give you the championship and we're going to pay you a shitload of money. All you got to do is in a little while, drop it to this dum-dum.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was like, okay, Sheiky baby.
Yeah, drop to the ultimate backstage politician. I think I won.
Yeah, I think you definitely won the year for the first two topics. For the wrestling, it was a pretty awesome year. Oh, one thing we actually did get this year also in 83 was the premiere of the Road Warriors.
Yes.
So we got one of the greatest tag teams of all time just popped up in 83. Which I think one day we're going to have to do the comparison between the Road Warriors, LOD, and considering all of LOD versus the Dudleys.
Oh, the Dudleys win.
But you know what? There's a lot of people who are going to argue that it's LOD, and I am with you. That it's Dudleys.
See, here's the thing: the Dudleys win because the Dudleys had their embarrassing times at the beginning of their career, whereas LOD had their embarrassing times at the end.
They Jannetti'd at the end.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think that
might be the breaker. But I mean, when you go to titles, the amount of the
I'm sure they're even
down the line, and so.
But yeah, all right, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about all that later. So we have been 5Alive. I am BobbyT.
I'm Martin. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Follow us on 5Alive VP. Tell us what we were right about. Tell us what we were wrong about. And I'm up to.
1984 is going to destroy you.